Hello, welcome. It's halfway through the year and I'm now going to set goals for the next 5 months, 6 months, 5 months, I think. It's August. I've made a video talking about the goals for the first 6 months, and now I'm going to make a video about the goals I'm setting for the second half of the year. The first half of the year I was more focused on my mental health and taking things a little bit easy, and this second half of the year I really want to get more done. Certainly in terms of my creativity, that's going to be the main thing I'm going to be focused on. So I've divided my goals into 4 sections. One is health and well-being, the second is creative goals, the third is learning and personal development, and the fourth is experiences and joy. That's actually got the least in it, so okay, so number 1, health and well-being. The most important thing I'm focused on for the rest of the year, and I've made a video specifically on it, is getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning. There's a lot of reasons that this is really beneficial for me. The first is that I can get up early before work and get some writing done, and this now lets me put my writing time into my daily life, which is what I've been missing for a long time and what I really wanted. I really wanted to get consistency, and that is my main focus for the rest of the year, is to be consistent. So this is not only involving getting up at 5 a.m, but it's involving going to bed early and just making sure I'm giving myself like the best chance to get up early and feel good throughout the day. So I'm getting up at 5 a.m. every morning, and that includes weekends, because then that gives me extra hours on the weekends where I can get some other things done that I will be talking about in the rest of my goals. So for health and well-being, getting up at 5 in the morning, and that is hopefully going to involve a walk to a coffee shop in the morning. So if I'm getting a walk every day, that's also a good thing. That's my aim for when I get up at 5 during the weekdays, is to get out into a coffee shop and write there. But if I'm not able to do that, then I'm still going to be getting up early and, getting the writing done. But getting a walk in, I think, is really good for me, and it has been really good. I've been doing this now for a few weeks, and I've been feeling really, really good, a lot better than I have been feeling before. So I think it's really beneficial for me in a lot of ways. The other thing for my health and well-being is I want to do 30 minutes of yoga a day. And that's usually the way my work day goes. That's kind of split up, where I like to do like 10 minutes of yoga and stretching, like within, I call it the morning shift. I've just got a 9 to 5, but I just like break it down in my mind that I've got a morning shift and an afternoon shift, which is true because lunch is in the middle. So I want to get a 10-minute yoga or stretching session sometime in the morning. It's usually between 10 and 11, like whenever I can find 10 minutes where I'm not so busy. I try to do that. I've got my yoga mat laid out. You can see it right there. I've got my yoga mat laid out, so when I find the 10 minutes that I can spare, just come in here and do some stretches, do some yoga, and that just feels really good and just like keeps me moving. Obviously, like if you're sitting all day at an office job, like you really need to make sure that you're stretching and doing things like that. So that is a main goal of mine. And if I do 10 minutes in the morning shift, 10 minutes in the afternoon shift, and then I like to do 10 minutes after work, that adds up to 30 minutes. That is my main goal. Sometimes I'll do yoga a little bit later on at night as well. I mean, when I say I'm doing yoga, like I'm stretching, I'm doing like pretty much the same poses. Sometimes after work I will put on like a YouTube video and follow along, but for the most part I kind of just do like certain poses that I've found have work best for me and like feel the best. So I think that's what's important, is just to find like what feels good for you. So that's my health and well-being goals. There's not much of them, but I think doing some yoga, doing some stretches, and particularly if I'm getting that morning walk as well, like I think I'll be doing really well. So moving on to creative goals. My creative goals for the main thing I want to do is my writing, and my main problem over the past while, like especially when I've not been feeling so good mentally, is the fact that I've not had writing kind of built into my daily life because I've just been going straight to work and then I'm exhausted after work. So getting up at 5 a.m. is really solving that problem for me, as it's giving me those spare hours that I need. So my plan is to do 1 hour of writing 4 days a week. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday and Friday. On Wednesday I go into the office, so I don't have time for that. And so far that's been going really well. I have been getting out, I've been getting my walk, I've been going to the coffee shop, and I've been writing for about an hour. So I can usually write from 6:30 to 7:30, and I'm really, really pleased with my progress so far on that. Ideally, I do go back and forth on whether I should be counting word count or not. I mean, my ideal is if I've got an hour, I would like to write 500 words. So when I am feeling in the flow and I can write, I mean, you could write more than that if you're in a really decent flow, but I think 500 words is reasonable. And if I was writing 500 words for 4 days a week, obviously that's 2,000 words. So I think 2,000 words a week is great for me. You know, if you've got a full-time job, it is difficult to squeeze in that writing time. So if you do get the chance to be able to write 2,000 words a week, it's fantastic. My overarching goal was to have a first draft of another novel complete by the end of this year. I think, you know, I was already sitting around 8k of this book that I'm writing now because I started writing it a couple of years ago and gave up on it. I've now gone back to it. That's called Project Island, which I talked about. So I think I will have like a reasonably small first draft. I should probably have between 50 and 60,000 if I keep going the way I'm going by the end of the year. You know, even like going into January, whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's a rough goal. I wanted a rough first draft, and I think I'll be like near the end of a rough first draft by the end of the year if I manage to keep going as I'm going. It can be difficult to like set word count goals, so that's why I think just committing to an hour of writing makes more sense, because if you do set word count goals and you don't reach them, or what happened to me the other week was I wrote 500 words, realised it was rubbish and just deleted. So that's quite depressing, but I did spend the 1 hour writing, so I've kind of achieved that. So that is my plan for writing. If I do that, I've got consistency, and you know, it just feels so good to get the time to write and to do something creative before work. I think it's so important. It's so important for me, like, to have that balance. Another creative goal is for my writing, which is to write 2 query letters a week, query packages, query emails. I've got 2 novels that are sitting in quite good shape. One is an adult book, kind of around maladaptive daydreaming, which I've talked about on this channel, and the second one is a YA dystopia, kind of around gender. 2 of them are in good shape, and they've had quite a lot of good beta feedback. I have queried them at different points and then I've given up. I would like to keep on pushing with them. I'm not ready to give up on them because I feel quite good about the quality of them. Like, I'm proud of them, so I want to keep trying with those. Just now my main focus is on the adult novels, so I am like focusing on sending query letters out for them. I don't know if 2 query letters a week is the most realistic thing, but so far I've been doing that, and yeah, I think it's quite good doing it this way, so that I'm not spending too long like getting bogged down in query. I mean, I used to be somebody who had like the query tracker subscription. I kept the spreadsheets. I like would refresh, when an agent was like going through their pile. You can see this on Query Tracker, and you can see like who's been rejected, not who's been rejected, but you can see like rejection request, maybe whatever. You can watch them kind of go down their pile if they're on Query Tracker. I used to kind of obsess over that, and now I think, there's no point. Like, it's just, there really is no point in getting lost in all that. You send the letters out there, and to be honest, the way the publishing industry is just now and the way querying is, like, more often than not, you're just going to hear silence. So you really shouldn't get too caught up on things. So that I'm trying not to. So yeah, hopefully, putting 2 query letters out there is, I think, reasonable, just to like keep in that world, but not obsess too much about it. That's kind of my plan. Like, while I'm sending those out, I'm more focused on, writing my new first draft. The other creative goal is for this YouTube channel. My plan is to do at least 1 a week, but I have been doing more than that, and I prefer to be doing more than that. I want to be, putting out 2 or 3 videos a week if I can. But yeah, at least 1 a week, and I have been really good at that. So I'm hoping kind of by the end of the year to have about 100 videos. I don't know. I don't know where I am just now, but yeah, I don't put too much pressure on this channel. I really just want to, talk and enjoy it, and, not put a lot of pressure on results or anything. It's just something I'm doing for my mental health and for, really just to connect with people who maybe, going through similar things than me. And, I'm really enjoying it, and it has been good for me. So my plan is to just continue that 1 video a week at least. Okay, the third section is learning and personal development. In terms of reading, I really want to read more because I set a Goodreads challenge that I'm completely falling behind in. I basically haven't really found, with the way my schedule is now, I haven't found a good place to be reading during the week. So I kind of thought I'm going to put all that into the weekend. I do have a lot of free hours in the weekend. I don't plan to do too many social things. I'm really just trying to just have the kind of bare minimums of socializing right now, because it's not something that's a priority. And I have like my friend that I see and family, and that's enough. And I've got a lot of spare time just now at the weekend to devote time to reading. Every time I download something on my Kindle and it says something like, this will take you like 3.5 hours to read, I just can't believe it, because I've never really finished a book in one sitting. But I'm like, 3.5 hours, like, why can't I just do that? So I've told myself I'm going to try and do 4 hours of reading every weekend, and see how that splits out. But a lot of these Kindle books, because I do like kind of shorter books, the idea that I could be reading 1 book a week is amazing. And I think, I probably just need to push myself more in that area and have it more as a goal. So I'm going to really trying to get 4 hours of reading over the weekend. So that might be split in, 2 hours on Saturday, 2 hours Sunday, or if I can try and, power through a book, that would be really cool. The other thing for learning and personal development is I want to do 1 commonplace entry a week. So I have a commonplace book. I've done a video on that. Got that sitting here. But I've not filled as much in of this that I wanted to. And what I would really like is to, focus more on filling this out and learning new things. I've got space for about 72 entries of different things, and my hope was to try and have that filled out with, not the whole book filled out, but to have like the topics that I'm interested in kind of identified. So I really want to, think about that every week and get something in there. I think I just haven't put that into my schedule anywhere, so it's kind of being neglected a little bit. But I really enjoy, I think it's really peaceful actually just to choose a topic that you're interested in and do some research in it, and then, you know, write down what interests you about it. Like, I think it's very mindful, and it's really enjoyable actually. So I want to do 1 entry a week. On to the 4th segment, which is experiences and joy. I am trying to cut down on doing anything social that I don't want to do. I have always kind of pushed myself into doing things because I felt I had to do them. I kind of felt, you know, I've got to be social, I've got to be doing things, I've got to have something in my calendar for the weekend, or I've got to have like a class I want to be doing, or things like that. And I just think, you know, I really don't want to do that anymore. I want to, you know, just be quite particular about the things that I do and be okay with experiencing things just for myself and because they're a challenge. Something I'm working on is like a mini bucket list, which I hopefully will make a video about, but it's just, I'm thinking about, you know, what experiences do I want in life, and what kind of challenges could I do that I would feel good about, and like are maybe not the most obvious things or just small things. There's lots of kind of little things where I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that. Like, an example is, you know, I've got a car, but I very rarely drive anywhere apart from just like going to my parents' house, and I think probably that's about it. Like, I used to like drive to train station, things like that. But I just do short drives, and I always think I would really like to like drive out to a beach, or like drive to one of the locks. But I never do. So I think like little things like that don't sound like a big deal, but they would be a big deal for me because I just never do them. I would really like to do, back to the goal, I would really like to look for like one thing like that I could do per month, just to kind of feel good that I'm having new experiences. Obviously that doesn't really sound like a big deal, but it would be a big deal for me. So it's really just about, you know, what would be something I would want to achieve for myself. So I am compiling that list just now. I may do a separate video on that, and the idea is that I try and do one of those things a month. So yeah, I don't think that's too challenging, and it's, you know, it's not a lot of pressure to think like that. So that is my plan. Anyway, there is only about 5 months left in the year. August, September, October, November, December. Yeah. So I think this is reasonable, and I'm really happy with this. I think it centres on the things that are important to me, which is really like daily creativity. That is the main thing that I wanted to get back into my life, because it was gone for a good while, and, you know, that kind of added to the mental health problems that I was having. So I'm feeling good about this, and I have been doing it for a few weeks, so I think it's, you know, absolutely achievable. I'll kind of keep you updated and let you know how I'm getting on with my goals. So please do let me know if you have similar goals, or if you're setting goals for the rest of the year. I hope you're kind of taking it easy and not pushing your goals too much, and having things that are achievable and make you feel good, because there's just like no point, you know, setting goals and doing all this if it's going to make you feel guilty. And you know, you do need to be in quite a good place, I think, in order to set goals. I think this is, you know, one step beyond, you know, feeling good, and that's why for the first half of the year I didn't really set intense goals. My main goals were just actually prioritising sleep and starting to feel good about myself, just like setting up this channel and starting to think about my creativity again. And, you know, I think you really need to set goals to like where you are mentally at the time, and not feel bad if you're like pushing yourself to do too much. Yeah, so please do let me know where you are, or if you have any similar goals. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.